bonsoir. We'll go right to questions from media, and we will start with Kate Porter at CBC Ottawa.
Hi, thanks, Seb, and good evening or good night, everybody. Mayor Watson, tonight words were flying and thousands of people were watching the YouTube channel. I wonder what you say to those who see as this successful motion to overhaul the police board as a political stunt.
Well, I disagree with that premise, Kate. There was legitimate concern on the part of majority of members of council and certainly the public that we've heard from just in the last several hours that a sole source contract with no competition was handed to one individual to become the interim chief, despite the fact we just hired an interim chief or appointed an interim chief 24 hours ago. There's no consultation with council, no consultation with the public, I just don't know what the arrangement is. We've got an individual who's a former chief who's going to come to Ottawa, who obviously doesn't know our city, in the midst of the biggest crisis in our city's history, and he's bringing a bunch of consultants with him. How much is this costing? How did this individual get chosen? Who are these consultants they're bringing in? There are a lot of questions, and I think people felt they lost confidence in the board, the police board, and that was why the vote was taken.
Now, it would seem though that, if a contract has been signed, what do you want to see happen now?
Well, when Councillor Deans brought this to my attention that she was going to go and do this, and I asked her not to sign a contract, she said she would not sign the contract. And then a few hours later, she informs everyone that the contract had been signed. So I don't know what the legal repercussions are. So obviously, the new board will have to deal with that, but my view was that I have full confidence in Steve Bell, the interim chief, and basically to have someone come now on Monday to take over didn't make any sense whatsoever. We need all hands on deck, and we need some stability and consistency, and that's why I think people were expressing their displeasure with the former chair. A sole source contract is not acceptable for something this important, and not having any idea of how much this is costing is another concern I think a lot of taxpayers have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We will now go to Alex Gouge with City News Ottawa.
Hello, my question is for Mayor Watson. Mayor Watson, how do you think Eli El-Shantiri will be an effective leader on the police service board now?
Eli El-Shantiri is the most experienced board chair for a police board here in the city of Ottawa. He served for 12 years, including, I believe it was 3 years as chair of the provincial body of police service boards. So he has extensive experience and great credibility within the policing community and the broader community. And I'm very pleased that he's back on the board, and I hope that the board does in fact elect him as the chair, because he served this community extremely well with deep humility, professionalism, and sincerity. Thank you.
That's my only question for today.
Thank you, Alex. We will now go to Josh Pringle with CTV Ottawa.
Good evening. My question is for the mayor. Did you give any consideration to putting your name forward to be a member of the Ottawa Police Services Board? And if not, why wouldn't you want to serve on the Ottawa Police Services Board as the mayor of the city during a very trying time?
Well, I did serve on it for a period of time. I took over from a position from Keith Eglai. There were many people that wanted to see their name put forward, and I supported them in their desire to serve on the Police Services Board. And I'm delighted that we have a former member back, wonderful Franco-Ontario woman from Vanier. And we have some other members, including Eli El-Shantiri, who served in the past, who will also be, I believe, taking a leadership role. I think we're fortunate to have people of Eli's caliber who has that depth of experience, understands the structure of the police service, and won't need any training. He can hit the ground running. Thank you.
My follow-up question, sources have told CTV News that former Chief Slowly will be paid out his contract in full for the remainder until 2024. any concern about the use of taxpayers' dollars and the dismissal of the chief or the resignation of the chief?
Yeah, Josh, excuse me, unfortunately, not being on the board, I wouldn't have information of exactly what the payment was and what the contractual obligations were by the city who hired the police board who hired him. So unfortunately, I'm at the same disadvantage as you are.
Thank you. We will now go to John Willing with the Ottawa Citizen.
Thank you, Seb. Mayor, should the board stop the process of bringing in this outside interim chief into the police force, if that's even possible?
Sorry, John, it was just a little too loud and echoey. Can you just repeat that, please?
Sorry, Mayor. I was just wondering if you think the police board should stop the process of bringing in this outside interim chief, if that's even possible.
Well, I hope that's a possibility. Obviously, the new board will have to meet and look at what the agreement was that Councillor Deans signed with this individual. I think they will do their due diligence and determine whether this is a good deal for the City of Ottawa. What are the consequences, financial and otherwise, of getting out of this arrangement? This is why I think there was a fair number of people around the council table who were very upset hearing this information today, that within a span of 24 hours, we went from one interim chief to another interim chief who's not even from Ottawa, doesn't really know our city particularly well, as I understand it, and is promising to bring a number of consultants with him. I don't know what they will be consulting on, but we're in the midst of the greatest crisis our city has ever faced, and the eyes of the world are on us, and I have full confidence in Acting Chief Bell to see us through the next little while, which I know are going to be very, very challenging times for every one of our first responders and our citizens. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. A follow-up. Is there any further involvement of Dean French in mediating with the occupiers, or will you entertain any other offers for mediation?
No, he's no longer involved. He's gone back to Toronto. As you know, there was no cost to the taxpayers. He did it as a private citizen. I have not been approached by others at this point, so I can't really give you a definitive answer. But my view is that if there's something that comes to my attention that can help ease the burden on the people in Centertown and the Byward Market who have put up with this nonsense far too long, then I'm happy to entertain those ideas if it can help the citizens of our community. Thank you.
Pour aider les résidents, nous le ferons.
Thank you.
Parfait, merci beaucoup, Monsieur le maire. Julien Paquette, le droit.
Bonjour, Monsieur le maire. Est-ce que, bon, on a vu, Diane Dees a été remplacé ce soir. On a vu par la suite, il y a eu la démission un peu plus tôt de Sandy Smallwood également. Il y en a eu 2 autres ce soir. Est-ce qu'il y a une inquiétude quelconque de voir d'autres démissions de membres actuels de la commission et potentiellement de voir les travaux de la commission être rendus difficiles dans les prochains jours, les prochaines semaines?
Ben, je pense que non. Il y a 3 autres membres de le conseil d'administration qui sont des délégués de la province de l'Ontario. On a voté aujourd'hui pour une fière franco-ontarienne, Suzanne Valiquette, comme un nouveau membre qui représente la ville sur le conseil d'administration. Et maintenant, c'est à la fin de la réunion, Mme Meehan a décidé de quitter le conseil d'administration. Alors, le conseil va proposer et voter pour le dernier membre du conseil d'administration. Alors, il y a seulement une place qui est vide et c'est la responsabilité le prochain conseil municipal de déterminer qui est le dernier membre de cette groupe. Merci.
Parfait. Ma question suivie, Monsieur le maire, ce serait essentiellement au sujet de l'argument qui a été avancé par Diane Dean ce soir pour l'embauche d'un nouveau chef intérimaire. L'idée que essentiellement il manque un peu de bras dans la direction du service de police. Est-ce que cet argument-là a une certaine validité pour vous? Est-ce que ça va être important de trouver rapidement plus de gens pour occuper ces hauts postes-là?
Ben, Julien, je pense que c'est vraiment important d'avoir les membres du conseil d'administration du service de la police avec la confiance de le conseil municipal, parce que c'est la ville et les contribuables qui est responsable pour 100% de la budget. Je sais que si vous n'êtes pas un membre du conseil d'administration de le service de police, par exemple, moi-même, je n'ai pas le droit de participer à les sessions huis clos, etc. Mais il y a beaucoup des membres du conseil qui avaient des grands problèmes avec un manque de communication entre le service de police et la communauté et spécifiquement les membres du conseil municipal. Ça, c'est un problème. Si vous n'avez pas un système de communiquer avec des élus de la ville pendant une grande crise, ça, c'est vraiment un problème. Et je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de frustration avec la moitié des membres du conseil, avec l'ancien conseil d'administration. Merci.
Merci. This is all the time we have today.
Oh, c'est tout le temps que nous avons aujourd'hui.